Hi everyone, this is Kirei with my very first process video for Bella Blvd and I'm using the fabulous new cap and gown collection and I'm focusing on a couple of the pattern papers in the collection. They're the borders paper that you can see here. I'm trimming off all the individual border strips and I'm also using the daily details pattern paper. So I'm sort of working my way through cutting off all the strips and I'm going to pull out the ones that are actually the non-graduation themed strips. This collection is obviously a graduation themed collection, but I've been using it to create layouts that are actually non-graduation themed. So I've pulled out the ones that I want, and I've got a couple of the tags from the daily details paper, and I've started to distress the edges of those. Now, those of you that know me know that I do like a bit of distressing. I don't like flat sort of edges. I like a bit of texture. I like a bit of dimension. So I'm just working my way through distressing all those edges. I'm not going to show you that. Well, here we go. They're all done now. And both of the tags. And I'm going to start sort of working out. The idea is that I'm going to use the different pattern strips, layered down and creating a background. So I'm sort of working through here, deciding sort of the lengths that I want because I'm going to have them all at all different lengths. Got two photos there that I'm going to layer up over the strips once I've got those all stuck down. So I'm sort of playing around with them here. Now the cap and gown collection is a black sort of grey and white collection. It is for graduation, which is perfect if you want to add obviously graduation photos, because then you can add any colours that you want to match your particular school. Now I decided to use a couple of the coloured papers from the Bella Besties collection, and this is the Punch, which is the pink pattern, and then I'm using Gulf, which is a sort of tealy green. And I've also cut out a number of strips in different widths out of those two pattern papers. So I've sort of got them layered up roughly how I want them, but I've decided I'm going to add a little bit of mixed media to my background. So I've pulled out some watercolor paints and I'm just sort of mixing that up there. And I think I've just gone to get some, packaging. Plastic packaging. I'm taking a quick photo so I know how I want my strips, and I'm just now getting that using the packaging technique and layering down that pretty watercolor. It matches that teal green paper that I'm using. So I'm just sort of building that down. Now, typically with any mixed media, a lot of it gets covered up. So which is the case here, but that's okay because I get enough of it peeping out of the top and below the strips once I get those stuck down. So I'm just adding some splatters now that that is all dry, and then I can get to work on building up the background. So here we go. It's now completely dry, and I'm starting to stick them down. And unusually for me, I'm not going with perfectly straight lines. I typically bring out my T-square ruler and start making sure they're perfectly straight. But I decided I was sort of going with a slightly more sort of wonky feel to the strips so that they're not perfectly straight. So so your video isn't playing up. They're not straight. So I'm just sort of playing around with them here, building them up, just deciding if I'm happy with the order of them. I think that striped one at the top, I'm going to move to the top, and I'm going to add a little bit more detail of that into the bottom, and you'll see that shortly because I do fiddle around a little bit with getting these all right. So in just a moment, you'll see that all finished so that we can move on. There we go, all done. And I've really, really lifted and distressed those edges. So I distressed them firstly with the distressing tool, but I've also sort of lifted all the edges as well, which I like to do. I'm mounting my two photos on the Bella Besties paper here, and because patterns behind are quite busy, so this just allows the photos to sit up from that pattern paper background. And of course, I'm going to distress the edges of the two mounted photos as well. Now, these photos, I loved this actually. I went and met a friend for lunch in London, and we went to the Ivy Asia, which has the most beautiful decor. And of course, being a scrapbooker, you can't miss out on a good photo opportunity. And they have this most beautiful sort of corridor with all cherry blossom and that hanging down from the ceiling, and the prettiest patterned walls that was sort of almost glass. Yeah, it was really, really lovely. So, of course, I had to get a photo in that corridor. Okay, so what am I doing here? I have got tags. I'm layering them up behind my photos, and I'm just pulling out some of the cap and gown ephemera, and I have the icons and the words, and I've pulled out all the flowers and a couple of other pieces. I've got the This Moment strip. I've got another little one that I've sat on the top of my photo that says photo op, and there's little silver metallic leaves there. That's the Bella Pops in the Amazing, and there's 4 layered flowers in there, and I'm sort of having a look at how I can work those into my layout. So photos are stuck down, tags are stuck down, and I've just tied a little bit of twine through the tops of the tags. And now I'm just sort of working through and getting those flowers sat into place. Now, with anything like this, you can see I'm just sort of curving up the edges. Again, I tend to not have anything completely flat. It's that dimension that I really like. So I'm now just cutting up a little bit of some foam pads, and I'm going to add that to a couple of my flowers, but I actually pull that off in a bit later on and decide they're fine flat, because I lift the edges up, the petals up anyway, so it's absolutely okay. So that's happened now. I've just moved it on. Okay, so I'm pulling out the Bella Pops, and I've got this really lovely, it's got a metallic silver back to it, and I'm popping that at the top. And yeah, I'm just really finishing off and getting the sort of the bits and pieces, the last elements sort of stuck down. And those little metallic leaves, which are cute, just adding some of those into the flowers that I've already got stuck down to the background. And I do fiddle around a bit. Those of you who know me, I tend to move things around a lot until I'm completely happy. So, which is what's happening here. Trimming off just the pieces of the flowers at the top and the bottom that overhang the edge of the layout. And now I'm bringing in the Trinkets Puffy Stickers in the pink colourways, and I'm just adding some of the flowers into my sort of vertical cascading design. And I always add a little bit of extra glue, really just to make sure everything sort of stays stuck down. And then what's next? Title. Okay, I love the Aria Puffy Alpha, and I have the one here in the punch colour, and I sort of work that in over to the right, but I've obviously decided, forget the title for the moment. I'll go back to the layout. So I have the epoxy stickers from the Cap and Gown collection, and I'm just taking off the tiny little epoxy dots, and I'm just sort of adding some of those in and around my layout. So that's all done. Back to the Bella Pops here, and I'm just figuring out, can I get those other 3 of them onto my layouts? Seeing as I'm working with flowers, I figure that, surely I can get these on. So finally, I get 2 of them stuck down, and there's one more that I can't quite decide, and I pop it away, but it does get added to the layout at the end. Okay, back to the title finally, and my title is going to be Bloomin Lovely, and I start with it over the pattern papers, but I'm not happy with it there, and I do play around with it for a bit, which I will do off camera. And then I also bring in the Florence alphabet stickers. Start off with the pale pink one here, but I'm not liking that. It doesn't work. And then I go back to the black with Lovely, and I'm happier with that, but I do move it all down onto the white background. So I think I'm just about done, other than adding some journaling, which I will do off camera. And here is the finished layout. There you go. Bloomin Lovely is definitely much better on the white background. Here's some of the close-up pictures, seeing all the cap and gown collection, but some of the Bella Besties I've also added in for a bit of colour. I hope you've enjoyed my first process video for Bella Blvd. This has been Kirei. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.